Likely a few sore heads and fragile bodies after last night's New Year celebrations. For many of us, Christmas and New Year, a time of excess, really. January the 1st, of course, comes along, and oftentimes with resolutions to detox, get into the gym maybe, just generally live a healthier lifestyle. That's the hope anyway. Let's speak to Georgia Foster, an alcohol reduction expert and author of The Drinkless Mind. Georgia, thanks for coming in. Clear-headed this morning, are we?
I am actually. I'm very proud to say that. I do drink, by the way, though.
Do you?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I was listening to the Chief Medical Officer recently who made a very important point statistically, and one that surprised me, that 30% of the British public do not drink. And for them, when we make another gag about sore heads, it sort of falls slightly flat, doesn't it? That's nearly a third of Britain doesn't drink at all. I
would have thought that's quite high, isn't it? It's quite interesting. Well, I think generally we would look at British people as big drinkers. And I'm originally from Australia, so we're the same. But I think the thing is that, you know, talking about alcohol, it does get a bit of a bad rap, to be honest. And I think that we need to remember that, you know, it's okay to drink. There's nothing wrong with drinking. But my program, I have an online program that helps people drink in a healthier way. Because
healthy drinking, go on, unpack that one for us.
Well, I think if you look at, I mean, the UNIS measurement is not based on any foundation whatsoever. It's really a way for people to get some sort of education about how much to drink. But the truth is that if you're eating and you're drinking in a responsible way and you're not getting drunk and your liver has time to process the alcohol, you'll find you're drinking lots of water, you will be fine. But I think that the part of the problem is a lot of the drinking that the British culture, the society has, is they drink quickly, they don't eat when they drink. It's, you know, a lot of the Europeans will think differently about it. And there's nothing wrong with drinking regularly. It's just when people drink too much, it becomes a habit.
Yeah, I think I read in the last week that only the Hungarians and the Danes out-binge drink the Brits.
Really?
Well, I read it, doesn't mean it's true.
Well, it's, you know, I just think that, you know, we all, those who do drink really enjoy it. But I think the problem drinking is to do with social anxiety. I think it's to do with stress. I think it's to do with a lot of people who are driven by what I call the negative thinking cycle, and drinking, funnily enough.
But they're stressed in France, but they don't tie one on like we do.
Well, that may be true, but how we learn to cope with life is what we tend to go back to default.
There's a culture of drinking. OK, let's just set the boozing to one side. We get to Jan 1, don't we, every year, and gym membership rockets and all the rest of it. And a lot of people, you know, they'll abide by it for a fortnight or so, and then it falls by the wayside. What's your advice to those people who are thinking about using perhaps a hangover this morning as the launch pad for a new direction in life?
I think drinking is fine, not drinking is great too. If you can abstain, my goal for people would be that they have, you know, 2 or 3 to 4 alcohol-free days a week. Yeah. And when you are drinking, you're drinking in a nice, positive way. Hangovers, the problem with hangovers is you get anxious, you get fearful, and you get negative. And that's why, ironically, people tend to drink more. So abstaining for a period of time is not a bad thing, because it alleviates the anxiety, improves self-esteem, it improves emotional well-being. Lots of reasons why, you know, abstaining for January is a good idea.
There's nothing new in the idea of abstaining. It's just we now do it the other way around. Some Catholic friends of mine point out that Advent, the build-up to Christmas, used to be a period of fasting and abstinence. And now we do Christmas, and then we have the abstinence afterwards. We can't defer gratification, can we?
Well, I think we've got into a bit of a cycle of an all-or-nothing syndrome, and we need to stop that. The all-or-nothing syndrome makes people feel like they've got a drinking problem. What I'm saying is you've got a thinking problem. It's the thinking before the drinking that you need to work on. Anxiety, stress, negativity, loneliness, boredom. And boredom's a big trigger for a lot of people. And you've got to remember that over the Christmas and New Year period, a lot of people are hanging out with people that they wouldn't normally spend time with.
Is this a function of, is this a middle-age anxiety? I'm not including you in that, by the way, George. I'm thinking about myself. But I mean, as I dropped off my almost 18-year-old daughter last night to a party, I was less worried than my folks might have been about me, because I've got a feeling the new generation, the generation coming up, the millennials, don't feel as wedded to booze as we were.
I think that's correct. But there is another problem that's coming forward now, and that is also a drug problem with the younger generation. They're not using alcohol, but they're using a lot of drugs. So that's another concern.
Really good of you to come in, clear-headed as you are. Thanks very much
indeed. Happy New Year.
Thank you.
you.
Bye-bye. This is Sky News. Coming up.